Hey guys, what up? It's HD here, and I'm back with a Try Not to React Disney version. Basically, I'm going to be playing a whole bunch of Disney videos, and I'm going to try not to react to any of them. If they have music, I can, and I will sing along as well. I'm a bit of a Disney buff. Let's begin. Hold on. Okay, let's switch. Let's screen share, Unless you guys just want to see my reaction because I watched the video.
Can you guess this movie from these emojis?
Sherlock Holmes, I think.
The answer at the end of our video. Shark bait. Shark bait. Finding Dory. Remember Nemo's fellow captives at the dentist office in Finding Nemo? Well, Nemo wasn't the only one to escape his niece's grip of death. At the end of Finding Nemo, they make their escape too. And if you're a diehard Disney fan, you know they showed up again at the end of Finding Dory. Pause the scene and take a look at Jock's bag. His is the only one that is not lined with algae. Don't forget that he was the one who was obsessed with a clean tank.
Quick, no claiming. I shall resist.
Looks like his OCD paid off, because we can only wonder how long they've been in those bags. Cars. Anyone who is a fan of Screen Rant, and all of you should be, knows that we love to talk about the Pixar Luxo ball as much as Disney loves to show it. Sometimes they display the ball blatantly, like in Toy Story, and other times they like to tuck it away in a corner, like Inside Out. In the film Cars, they had to get creative because the characters in this film can't grab or kick the ball around. When the town of Radiator Springs turns on at night with all their neon glory, look at Sarge's surplus hut sign. It's hidden right there. Do you know which year the Luxo ball made its first appearance? Was it 1983, 1986, or 1991? Stay tuned to the end of our video to find out.
Slumber party.
Monsters, Inc. The details placed on characters are important to animators. Just take a look at Sully and his 2.3 million strands of individual hair that were animated for Monsters, Inc. On the scare floor is a character that runs the entire floor, and when there's a code 2319, it's his job to alert the CDA. He's got a stressful job, so it is fitting for him to have the lines of an EKG on his skin. An awesome and appropriate design on an overworked character.
Hey, what's the big idea? You better fix that wall, or else you're in big trouble.
Inside Out. The memory orbs in the movie Inside Out have many hidden Easter eggs in them, but only one when it comes to pizza. No, not bad pizza covered in broccoli, but the famous Pizza Planet truck. The Pizza Planet truck has been in almost every Pixar film, and Inside Out is no exception. When Joy, Sadness, and Bing Bong are driving on the train of thought, take a look at the memory orb in the crate. Maybe that's why Riley was upset about the broccoli pizza. She wanted her usual slice from Pizza Planet. A Bug's Life. P.T. Flea's circus goes from show to show on a train. But did you realize that train pays homage to Disney's 1941 animated film Dumbo? The train is partly made out of a box from a product called Casey Jr. Cookies. And the train from Dumbo is called Casey Jr. When you see the side of the box, pause the film and look at the top left corner. It says this is a product from the company J. Grant Bakery. And J. Grant stands for Disney legend Joe Grant, who was the co-writer of Dumbo. The Good Dinosaur. The Good Dinosaur is an adorable film about a young dinosaur named Arlo and a cave boy named Spot. During their adventure, Arlo is spooked and falls back into a lake. As he splashes down, you can see Hank from Finding Dory. Now we know why Hank doesn't want to go back into the ocean. If we saw a dinosaur, we'd probably keep our distance too. True or false? Anna Paquin refused a role in The Good Dinosaur due to scheduling conflicts with her HBO show True Blood. Stick around to the end of our video to find out the answer.
His mustache tickles, Mama.
Beauty and the Beast. When Belle's father Maurice gets lost in the forest, he tries to use old signs to help find his way back home. Even though the paint is wearing off, we're sure that he is able to still read the sign, which explains why he is still lost. The sign says Valencia and Anaheim. Almost everyone knows that Anaheim is the city where Disneyland is located. But what is the significance of Valencia? Valencia is where the famous Cal Art School is located and taught numerous animators.
This ain't nothing at all like Great Gates Bank.
Cars 2. Not all Easter eggs show up during the movie itself. They can also show up during the end credits. This is one of the reasons to stick around to the end of the movie, even if that movie isn't a superhero film. In Cars 2, as the credits roll by, you can see Luxo Jr. Lamp sitting on top of the world. Maybe this is symbolism to Pixar and Disney being the #1 animation company out there. World domination.
I've set my laser from stun to kill.
Ah, great. Yeah, and if anyone attacks us, we can blink them to death.
Toy Story. Tim Allen wasn't the first choice to play Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story, but it's hard to imagine anyone else in the role. But we'll get back to that in a moment. Tim Allen rose to stardom from the TV show Home Improvement, where he played a TV show host of a tool time
I
show
love that
sponsored by
show.
Bigfoot Tools. When Buzz helps to free Woody by removing a toolbox from on top of his prison, take a look at the company that made the toolbox. That's right, looks like Tool Time sponsorship paid off. Fill in the blank. Billy Blank was asked to play Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story before Tim Allen accepted the role. We'll reveal the answer in just a moment. Nutcase! The Incredibles. When Mr. Incredible shows up to his wedding a little behind schedule, Elastigirl is already waiting for him at the altar. She's not the only one who's been waiting for him, though. If you pause the screen when they show the wedding guests, you might recall a few friends that received Cape Crusader mishaps. Check out Thunderhead, the charmer who accidentally takes a flight with a missile, or Strato Girl, who got a little too close to a jet turbine, or Meadow Man and his ill-fated elevator ride, and let us not forget Dino Guy. We guess Edna is right, no capes. There you have it, 10 paused movie moments Disney wants you to see. Here are the answers to our trivia questions. The Luxo Ball made his first appearance in 1986's Luxo Jr. Anna Paquin was in The Good Dinosaur as Ramsey, the T-Rex, so the answer is false. Lastly, Billy Crystal was asked to play Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story before Tim Allen accepted the role. Thanks for watching.
Let's try another one. Let's see about this one.
Adjusting a tropical mood. We let it transport us. Adventure. We have a fragrance for that. New Glade plugins car, crafted by Glade. S.C. Johnson.
It's a tale as old as time. A mother and father will take their smiling, happy pair of children to the movies. The kids will have a great time, and so will the parents, but for slightly different reasons. Those jokes your parents laughed at might not have been so funny to you back then, but they will be now. Today at Screen Rant, we're going to be looking back at 10 Disney jokes that get funnier as adults. Let us know what your favorites are, and remember to push that red button to subscribe for more. And before we begin, can you name the film from these emojis?
Pirates
Stay
of the
tuned until the
Caribbean.
end of the video for the big reveal. Okay, talk to the back. Moana. It's undeniable that wrestling was huge in the mid to late 90s. It was the height of the Attitude Era. It was cool to like pro wrestling again. At the height of all this pro wrestling mayhem was a man named Dwayne Johnson, also known as The Rock. This was a guy who was relatively unpopular at first, with ham-fisted promos and seemingly lacking the X factor needed to be a star. But then everything changed. One day, The Rock became a powerhouse.
He's a guy. He and Zac Efron, if you guys are over 18 and don't go watch Baywatch, that movie, I'm gonna mind him on a three-way.
Charisma, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. One of, if not the greatest mic worker of all time. The Rock became a star so great that he transcended wrestling itself, something that only Hulk Hogan had successfully done before. Why is this relevant to Moana? Well, it seems that the movie's animators were fond of The Rock too, as his character Maui performs the people's eyebrow, the signature look The Rock would give to drive fans wild. It's not crude or inappropriate, but it's a joke that young children probably aren't going to get. While the kids may laugh at Maui pulling a funny face, adult wrestling fans who remember the heyday of The Rock will be in hysterics that this cartoon character just pulled Dwayne Johnson's signature expression.
You mean limitations on wishes? Some all-powerful genie can't even bring people back from the dead.
Aladdin and the King of Thieves. We are also including straight-to-video movies too. While they technically have more to do with the animated series than the original movies, Aladdin's direct-to-video sequels fare a little better than most other Disney movies, by virtue of actually making some sense. Robin Williams initially left the franchise due to legal disagreements with Disney, leaving him absent from the second movie and animated TV show. He was replaced by the longtime voice of Homer Simpson, Dan Castellaneta. But when the time came for the third final installment of the Aladdin saga, Williams returned. And man, are we glad he did it, because without him, we probably wouldn't have gotten this quick little joke. During the scene at Aladdin's wedding, the ground unexpectedly shakes thanks to an elephant stampede. Needless to say, everyone panics, except for the genie, who lets this cracking one-liner rip.
The Earth wasn't supposed to move until the honeymoon.
It's that kind of witty one-liner that made us love Robin Williams as the genie, who was the source for most of the more adult comedy in the original movie. Cars. Cars is one of the stranger entries in the Pixar canon. Apart from being the only one that couldn't hypothetically take place in the same universe, it has a wildly different tone as well. It's perhaps most similar to Bug's Life in how it creates a culture and world to a bunch of characters which realistically wouldn't have one. It also takes advantage of its car world to make quite a few more adult jokes.
You really need a sweet taste of my homemade organic fuel.
No, doesn't agree with my tank.
They don't all say quite that innocent, though. After all, Lightning McQueen is a bona fide celebrity race car, and as such, he has his own share of groupies. Like these two female cars, which flash their headlights at him. Yeah, that's right. Lightning McQueen gets flashed by two women. There's also a place to go with convertible waitresses. We all know that a convertible is a cool sports car where the roof comes off, allowing you to speed down the road, wind blowing through your hair. So this is a place where cars go to see other cars take their tops off. All right, Pixar, you're really starting to push it with this one.
Hello, everyone.
Muppets Treasure Island. The Muppets can seemingly be put anywhere and still somehow make sense. This was certainly the case with the 1996 classic Muppets Treasure Island, which takes the classic Muppet
honestly,
characters
guys.
and the classic literature characters and makes them kiss. Quite literally. When Miss Piggy and Kermit are talking, Kermit is horrified to learn that his porky on-again, off-again girlfriend has been in a relationship with Captain Flint. When he asks why, she replies,
Well, he was a pirate, I was a lady. You know the story.
Needless to say, Kermit is not too happy with this little revelation. It's made funnier when the burning ball of manliness that is Tim Curry first struts onto the screen as the famous pirate Long John Silver. Miss Piggy greets him with a,
Hello. Oh no, him too?
it's Tim Curry, so I mean, can we blame her? One of the great hallmarks of the Muppets is their innate ability to fit in some very mature jokes, and sometimes even have a flat-out adult TV show that can still somehow go unnoticed by kids. It's why they've endured for so many years, and why they will continue to do so in many TV shows and movies to come.
You smash the entire area, you kill anything that has more than two legs, you get me? We get you, son!
Starship Troopers. Thanks to Disney being the giant mega corporation it is, it also owns companies and distributors like Miramax and Touchstone. This means that films like The Sixth Sense, Pulp Fiction, Reign of Fire, and even the legendary Apocalypto are all technically Disney properties. While these aren't normally the sort of movies that you'd watch as a kid, Starship Troopers definitely was one of them. Starship Troopers was interesting. It was a cool sci-fi war satire that we really shouldn't have been watching as kids, yet we all...
Hold on a minute, guys. I wonder something. Jones Disney. Who owns Paramount? Does Disney? Well, now we solved that question. Let's get back here.
all did anyway, which meant that a lot of, if not all of that humor really sailed right over our heads. Revisiting the film as an adult, and now a member of its intended audience, you can really appreciate how funny Starship Troopers actually was.
Good for you. Mobile infantry made me the man I am today.
While the movie was panned on release as mindless drivel, the film was actually intended as a satire of war and American imperialism, and it does so by sending thousands of soldiers out as cannon fodder, with countless men dying only to return with their reward fee to go to war again. The movies intentionally mocks military propaganda.
Everyone's doing their part. Are you? The war effort needs your effort. At work, at home, in your community.
And when you're a child, it's just cool to see the bugs blow up. But when you're an adult, you can really appreciate the joke a little bit more.
And then there was
was Achilles. Now there was a guy who had it all. The build, the foot speed, he could jab, he could take a hit, he could keep on coming. But that for slugging a heel is, he barely gets nicked there once and kaboom. He's history.
Hercules. Directors Clemens and Musker have worked on some of the best Disney films. Treasure Planet, The Little Mermaid, The Princess and the Frog, but the one with the smartest humor has to be Hercules.
Yeah.
With so many historical and mythological gags that soar over the heads of children and even some adults. Like when Hermes tells Zeus that
I haven't seen this much love in a room since Narcissus discovered himself.
Narcissus being the hunter from Greek mythology who is known for falling in love with his own reflection. When Hercules later tries to get trained by Phil, the grumpy satyr blows him off by saying,
2 words. I am retired.
This puzzles Hercules, but it's also a great language joke, as I am retired, when translated into Greek, is only 2 words.
Yeah.
And that's not the only way out there joke. Later in the movie, Hercules references seeing the play Oedipus and remarking,
Man, I thought I had problems.
Oedipus, of course, being the Greek play in which a guy kills his father and then has children with his own mother.
Yep.
Greek mythology is full of debauchery and inappropriate content, so it only made sense that directors Clemens and Musker would play around with it. Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy character Peter Quill is known as a bit of a roguish young man. It was pretty common for him to take numerous space women back to his ship after a hard day's pirating. So much so, in fact, he says,
By a black light. This looked like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Meh.
in order to understand this joke, you need to be at least over the age of 12, hopefully. You also have to understand what a black light does, and then live in the knowledge that this is what a Jackson Pollock painting looks like. So, yeah, that's pretty gross. James Gunn actually spent some extra time reshooting just so that he could insert a joke, which was not in the script. While he and actor Chris Pratt were certainly down for it, a lot of the crew on set just didn't see what the point was. They were so certain that Marvel Studios, owned by Disney, wouldn't allow such a rude joke into a House of Mouse property. Ultimately, though, it turned out Gunn and Pratt were right, and the little joke made it through unscathed. Maybe the Disney execs just didn't get the joke. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's
One
End.
of my fave
We're not going
pirates,
to pretend
guys.
the Pirates of the Caribbean sequels are great, but we do have to give them credit to going to such an extreme length to cast Rolling Stones guitarist and rock legend Keith Richards in the role of Captain T, just for the sake of a joke. When first developing the role of Captain Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp, who was a big rock fan and musician himself, modeled his mannerisms off of the British rock star. Depp's reasoning was that pirates were the rock stars of their day. We're not saying the logic wasn't faulty, but his pseudo-Richards impression became iconic with the character. As a result, when the time came to cast Jack Sparrow's dad, who better to cast than Keith Richards himself? As from a certain point of view, Keith actually is Jack Sparrow's dad. Keith swaggers around the set, really just being himself. If he carries himself in such a way, he's really believable in the role, which is impressive for someone who's not really an actor. Of course, we can't really be too mad at young kids for not knowing who Keith Richards is. We didn't either. Still, when you grow up, it's pretty funny. And hopefully, it'll introduce some young people to some older music they may take too.
Didn't your parents ever warn you about strangers?
Yes, they did.
Frozen. Frozen is Disney's most financially successful animated classic to date. It's also layered with jokes that a lot of small kids might not get. There are obvious rude jokes that will fly over children's heads. Like this conversation between Kristoff and Anna, where the two characters debate over whether it was a smart idea to get engaged to Hans, in spite of not really knowing him. The duo talk about things you should know about someone before you get married to them, such as their last name, favorite food, eye color, and foot size.
What's his favorite food?
Sandwiches.
Best friend's name?
Probably John.
Eye color.
Dreamy.
Foot size?
Foot size doesn't matter.
In a fun little double entendre that you'll probably miss unless you're one screwed up kid. Of course, Anna doesn't think that foot size matters, but foot size can also mean something else. Big shoes. That's not all, though. Frozen references writer Hans Christian Andersen, who penned the tale of the Snow Queen. How did they do it? Well, there's a clever little joke hidden in the characters' names. Hans, Kristoff, Anna, Sven. Each of the characters were specifically named to play off of Hans Christian Andersen. That's pretty cool, huh?
Is this you?
Oh, now they're just being mean.
Tangled. Next up is Frozen's unofficial rival. For some
That was
reason, in
funny.
spite of them both coming
the same company, a lot of Disney fans are split between Team Frozen and Team Tangled. We're not really sure why. They're similar films, sure, but it's not like one ripped the other off or anything. We're not sure if it's just our own dirty minds, but something about this poster for Tangled just doesn't seem right. It's not uncommon for Disney to put indecent things into the background of their movies or their posters. Regardless of whether it's the real-life photo of a nude woman in The Rescuers or a simple case of mistaken identity like the Lion King's infamous SFX message, Disney is known for these things. So when it looks like the Tangled poster looks as though it's spelling out S-E-X, we can't help but be curious.
You've got to be kidding me.
While it's true that the human brain is always looking for patterns and things that it recognizes, it's also true that Disney has a habit of letting these things accidentally slip into the final products. What do you think? Is it just our imagination, or is this poster a little bit naughty? Maybe the connotations of being tangled have just spoiled our minds. That's all we have time for today. What are your favorites? Also, what else do you want to see us talk about here on Screen Rant? We're always open to suggestions.
Knew it. Well, I'm going to end it there, guys. My laptop's dying. I don't know, alarmingly, and I need to go drink some coffee. Wait. So, see ya.